Good day, everyone. For this video, we are going to process data using a Python library, Pandas. So Pandas is a fast, powerful, flexible, and easy to use open source data analysis and manipulation tool that is built on top of the Python programming language. So if you want to know more about Pandas, you can visit this website, and it also contains the documentation about this library. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is to import the packages that we need for this tutorial. So last time you have already encountered NumPy for numerical computing. So we have discussed how to create arrays as well as slice and index 1D and 2D arrays, as well as performing aggregation and reduction. Okay, so for this videos or this series na focus, we are going to use Pandas. So we import Pandas as PD, okay, and we can also import matplotlib as PLT. Matplotlib, on the other hand, is a library in Python that is used for visualization. So you can create plots, graphs, different figures, etc. Okay, so we just run our program. So Control Enter or Shift Enter to move to the next cell. And what we are going to do is to learn how to pre-process a certain data set. So we will use a real world data, which is the movie data set. So it contains several movies, and each movie will have several attributes. Okay, so in order to read data using Pandas, so what we can do is to assign it into a certain variable, let's say data, or you can use df, anything. So let's say we just use data. And what we'll do is pd.read_csv. So the read_csv, because the file type that we will work on is a CSV file. So if you are going to read an Excel, so you change it into Excel as well. Okay, so read_csv, and we are going to pass the path to the path of the file that we are going to work on. So movie_metadata.csv. So the movie metadata.csv is saved under the repository data. Okay, so Shift Enter. So that means that the Pandas has successfully read the movie metadata. Okay, now what if we want to view the first 3 rows only? So what we can do is to type data that, then head, meaning it will only show you the first 3 rows. Okay, so as you can see here, it shows you the first 3 rows, 0, 1, 2 indices. And you can see here different attributes for each movie. So the movie title, its color, is it black and white or is it colored? The name of the director, the critic for reviews, duration, Facebook likes of the director, of the actors, the gross, the language, country, content rating, budget, when it was produced, IMDb score, aspect ratio, as well as movie Facebook likes, etc. Okay, so this does not replace this data. Instead, it simply lets you view this the first a portion of the data that we are working on. Okay, now what if we want to view the last 3 rows? So we simply type data that tail, and we want to view only the last 3 rows. Shift Enter. So it will show you the last 3 rows. Okay. Now, what if we want to view the number of samples and features, aka the shape of the data set? Okay, so basically, the number of samples is, you can see that it is, we have 5,043 na movies, and the number of features refers to the number of the attributes of the movie. This refers to the movie title, the color, director name, etc. So how many rows and columns do we have? So we can simply use data dot shape. Okay, so and it shows you 5,044 and 5,044 na columns and 28 na attributes. Okay, so that means that we have 5,044 na movies, and with each movie having 28 na attributes. So this basically shows the shape, which shows you the number of rows and the columns, right? Now, what if we want to get the column names or the feature attributes of the data frame? Like we want to get the movie title, the color, director name, critic for reviews, etc. So what we can do is type data dot columns, okay? And it will show you the movie title, the color, director name, critic for reviews, all of the attributes of the movie metadata, na data set. Now, what if we want to iterate through these attributes, right? So what we can do is to convert this object into a list. So, yeah, so we simply enclose this data.columns inside the list na method. So shift enter, and it will show you, or it will return a list of the column names. All right. Now let's move on to indexing columns. So in order for us to get the values of, let's say, just one column, and let's say we only want to view the movie titles, okay, in the data. So what we can do is just data, then enclosed in the square and a bracket. So we are basically slicing the entire data set, and we'll just only get a portion. So in this case, we only want to get the movie title, for instance. So movie title, okay, and it will return to you the movie titles. Now, what if we want to show all the genres that are included in this data set? So data genre, so it will return to you the genre of each movie. So let's say the first movie shows you action, adventure, fantasy, sci-fi. The second movie is tagged as action, adventure, fantasy, etc. Now, what if we want to index or get values of several columns? Like, it is difficult to determine which movie this refers to, right? To this one. So we want to extract both the movie title as well as its genre. So what we can do is data and the square in the brackets. And inside the square in the brackets, we are going to include all the column names that we want. So we want to extract the movie title and the genre. Okay, and enter. And this will result in error because genre is supposed to be genres. And what about the movie title? Movie title. Okay, enter. So right, now it shows you the movie title and the genre for each movie. Okay. So what if we also want to show the name of the director? So we can include the director name. Okay, and it shows you now 3 columns and the index of each na movie. So if you want to make it look cleaner, so you can store in a separate na variable these movies that we want. Okay, so you can store here, and then this calls is a list of the columns that we want to extract, and we pass the calls to data. So meaning from the data, we only want to extract the calls na list, which contains the columns that we desire to show or display. So it shows you similar na results. Okay. Now, what if you want to get the first 4 na director names only? Okay. So we are going to show or display the list of the director names, but we only want to show the first na 4. So what we can do is make use of indexing and slicing. So we can use data, then enclosed in the square in a bracket is the director name, and we only want to get the first na 4. Okay, so in this, as you can see, there is a lower bound and the upper bound, but the lower bound is not included. Okay, so this means that this statement assumes that we are going to start extracting from the beginning of the data. Okay, so enter. So it'll show you the first na 4 na director names. Now, what if we want to extract or show the first na 4 of this movie title, genre, and data frame? Okay, so what we can do is we've used this one. We will use that instead of the director name and extract the first 4. Okay, and it will show you only the first 4 na movies with movie title, genre, and director name. Okay, so what if we want to show the last 4 on the other hand? So what we can do is include an upper bound. So we can start from -4, and we can just omit the upper bound, so it will assume the end of the list. So enter, and it will show you the last 4 rows. Okay. Now we are going to learn how to index rows. So we have already learned how to index columns. Now we will learn how to index rows. Suppose we only want to retrieve only rows 10 to 11. So note that mathematically, the range is, this should be rows and not columns. Okay, so mathematically, the range is evaluated as the lower and then the upper, which means that the upper is not included. Okay, so we only want to retrieve rows 4 to 11. So what we can do is you make use of the iloc na keyword. So this means that the index na location, right? And then we will specify the lower bound as well as the upper bound. So we only want until 11. So we will use +1 to that, so 10 to 12. So note that 12 is not included. So Shift Enter, and it will show you rows 10 to 11 with all of the attributes. Okay, so let's say we also want to print the shape. So it will show you that it is 2 by 28. So it only retrieves 2 rows and all of the columns, which is 28. All right. Now, what if we want to retrieve only the first 3 rows? Okay. So what we can do is still use data. Then just use the iLock. And we will specify the lower and the upper bound. Okay, so for the lower bound, we can just omit it since we will assume that we will assume from the beginning of the list. So anyway, we want to just get the first 3 rows, right? So enter, and it will show